Well, Slappy knows that we did the Blue Ridge Parkway a couple weeks ago, and it just absolutely rained and poured. And I mean 24/7, 2.5 days, we didn't even see a piece of dry road. And I've been riding for 45 years, and I've always said, man, they ought to be able to make some waterproof gloves. Man, they ought to make some waterproof boots. So I've had every pair of gloves known to mankind, every pair of boots known to mankind, and they really just don't make them. They could make them. I don't know why manufacturers don't make them. They could, and they'll put some kind of Kevlar membrane, Hypora membrane, all this membrane crap in there. But when you sew something to something, it's going to leave a place for water to intrude at some point. Maybe not as soon as you buy them because they've been treated with something to fill that gap. But every time I go somewhere, Lord, when you get in 53, 60-degree weather and it's raining and your boots start filling up with water, I'm just over it. I'm over it. I'm seriously over it. I bought a $225 pair of Sedici boots from Cycle Gear before I left on my trip. Those adventure boots that come up halfway up your leg, and my boots were both filled up with water when I got up there riding on the interstate. And no, it was not intrusion from coming down my sock. I didn't have anything up here. It was all down inside the boot on both of them. Had to be the same place because water was at the bottom of the boot in all of them. John's boots that went with me were water enough that we poured water out of them. And I'm thinking, this is ridiculous. Well, I had a pair of Tourmaster boots with me that I'd sprayed before I went home because I knew I had boots. I knew I was going to bring extra boots because none of them ever do what they say they are. Waterproof. BS. That's what that is. I've heard it all I'm ever going to listen to it. And so I went in and did a scathing review for Cycle Gear on those boots. They're terrible. I had every boot known to mankind. Well, before we started back on Saturday, I said, I'm just not going to get wet coming home. There's got to be an answer to this question. And all these companies want their boots breathable and all this stuff. You don't care how breathable they are. You just care that your hands and your feet aren't wet when you're driving in 50-degree weather. I mean, let's just be honest. You want to be warm. My feet and hands get wet and cold. It ruins my trip. Makes me not want to ride. So we went, believe it or not, to Rural King in Front Royal, Virginia, before we started on Thursday morning. And I tried on for an hour different boots inside the Rural King, and I came up with a fairly inexpensive pair of rubber boots with a neoprene top on. I think they were called Lincoln Outfitters, that you can put your foot in a swimming pool up to almost your knee and sit there for 3 days, and no water's going to get in. Guess why? Because they're rubber. So that's truly waterproof. I got gloves that are completely PVC gloves that come all the way up to your elbows. And guess what? You can stick your hand in an ice bucket for 6 months and there ain't no water going to come through because they're rubber. So why in the world you can't tell me that a manufacturer can't put that in there and glue it in or something? Don't sew it or glue it on the outside or glue something. I literally bought a cotton pair of gloves to slide in them, and I have the perfect waterproof 100% motorcycle glove for $7.95 from Rural King. The boots cost me $84. I rode 24 more hours in the rain nonstop and didn't get one drop of water on my sock. Now, is it a motorcycle boot? No. Has it got protection? No. Has it got a steel toe? No. Has it got ankle and heel protection? No. But you cannot tell me. But they're comfortable. I wore them the whole day, walked in them. I put a shoe insert in them is all I had to do. And I never got wet. I was as happy as a lark. I could have ridden 6 months in the rain because it didn't matter because I wasn't getting wet while I was riding. I had a Tourmaster rain jacket on, which I think personally is the best rain jacket in the world. I've had two over 25 years, and neither one of them have leaked yet. Even has a hood that pulls up, so when you put your helmet on, no water can come down your back. It actually runs off of it. Excellent. Real long, so it doesn't bunch up. Comes way down here. Excellent. And pants, same way. You get Tourmaster pants. Even Frog Talk pants do pretty good. But the point I'm trying to make is when your feet and your hands get cold and you're on a trip, you're just gonna get uncomfortable, and it makes you not want to ride. That's why nobody rides in the rain, because they're gonna get wet. Now, if it's 90 degrees out and you're riding and the water's coming in on you and you're going to be in a storm and out of it in 5 minutes, 30 minutes later, you've got some kind of vented jacket on. Normally, you're going to be drying 30 minutes anyway because it's so hot. But you know what? I'll give up a little sweating on the inside to keep from getting soaked, especially in cold weather because I ride all year long. You get wet, you're miserable. But you can't tell me that a motorcycle company can't take one of these simple rubber boots, and they can build all the extra plastic and all this stuff on the outside for protection they want to build on it. They could glue it on there. We could take gloves and do the same thing because I actually did the gloves myself. So my challenge is for any company that ever hears this is, why don't you make us a real waterproof glove? Why don't you make us truly waterproof boots without us having to spend $500 for something, wear it for 6 months, and then you're on a trip somewhere and your foot's soaking wet in it? Doesn't make sense to me. Never has, never will. So I'll just make my own and just do it myself because that's what I'm going to have to do to stay dry.